Okay. Are you a small business owner who struggle to collect wins, who struggle to collect results, who struggle to create an outcome? If you answer yes to any of those questions, in this video, we're gonna speak about why collecting small wins counts. Every small thing that you do matters. Every action that you take matters. Every win that you accomplish matters. Every loss that you achieve matters. So we're gonna get started today. So first thing first, welcome to the Phase Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Terrell Humphrey. Over the last half a decade, we produced over 893 podcast episodes while helping 30 entrepreneurs launch their podcast in a short span of time. And I'll tell you this, the biggest thing that I've learned is that every time you are winning, you gotta make it count. Ooh, that's hard. That's hard right there. Every win matters. What's that song? Every little step I take, you will be there. But every little step you take, you will be able to win. So point number one that we're going to talk about first thing first is that point number one, this is important, okay? Point number one, put yourself out there. Out there. Put yourself out there. What's going on, Brandon? What does that mean? This is what it means. It means essentially this. If you are looking to achieve a goal and accomplish a task, a goal, or something like that, in order for you to accomplish a goal, you have to go out and do the goal. I'll give you a prime example. When I started back in 2021, I started this little car washing business, and it was called The Journey of a car wash. It's either a car wash, or the car wash. The journey of a car wash. Okay, so there was a car, right? Boom, 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 boom. All right, boom, boom. This is called a car. It's called a car. This is me right here, and this is the soap. Let's say sponge. GE. When I started washing cars, before I even had my first car, I bought these business cards. Hold on. I bought these business cards that had my name, my information. At the time, I was in the Marine Corps. It had my rank as well. And I was like, hold on. Let me take my rank off. So I scratched that out. But I still was doing the car wash. So when I had the business card, this is called right here. This is called business cards. When I had the business cards and I was going out to others to really, at the time, I didn't know it's called marketing, but to inform people about what I was doing, I was going out giving people cards, right? I was going out handing people cards and asking them, like, do you got a car? They said, yeah. I said, do you drive the car? They said, yeah. I said, how often do you go off base? Because we was on the base. How often do you go off base and get a car wash? They said, man, every so often. I said, is the drive far? They said, yeah. I said, really? I said, man, check this out. I'm actually starting a car wash in the barracks. I don't know if I was supposed to say this. I was starting a car wash where I was staying at. And I was like, man, like we literally right here. I'm literally right here. So if you want to save time, all you gotta do is just pull up right here and I can wash your car. Man, I start doing that. I start putting myself out there. I start talking. And then guess what? I ended up getting my first person say, yeah, I'll let you wash my car. I'll let you do that. And I'm like, for real? They say, yeah. I said, ooh, it just worked. But what worked? You see, I was collecting a small win. I was doing the work. Just because I had an idea to wash cars, that idea is useless if I'm not acting upon it. So when I start to act upon it, this is what happened to me. I start to learn how to wash a car. I start to learn how to drive a car. I start to learn how to get another person over here so that way I can do more. See, it's not the fact that I wasn't winning. Hold on. I just had to collect the small wins. Putting yourself out there is actually committing to the process. You don't need to know everything, but what you need to know is that you can start with what you have. It's just like with the podcast. When I started the podcast, I started with what I had. Then over time, I started to get equipment, get different things that really enhances the quality. But I tell you this, when I focus on like just getting people to learn more about me, I had business cards specifically made to go hand out. I got to show that picture one day because it's a story within itself. That story is what makes the difference because I was putting myself out there. You see, I had this idea, but if nobody knew about it, it was just ideal in my mind. Hold on. So what I had to go do is that I had to go find people, had to go communicate with people and share with them what I do. Some people say yes, some people say no, some people will call later on. But the ones who called, the first couple of customers that I had, it was mind-blowing because it taught me that I can literally collect small wins. You see, entrepreneurship is collecting small wins. What's working, what's not working, and what can you do better? You see, when I was doing it, I was like, ooh, hold on. People are actually starting to say yes. Hold on. People said yes. I'm like, yes. I'm like, what that mean? You see, failure is knowledge is being okay with the no's. Failure is knowledge is being okay with you messing up. Failure is knowledge is understanding that you have to mess up in order to understand that you are getting better. You see, I got better, and as I got better with washing cars, I started to upgrade the equipment. Hold on. What does this have to do with podcasting? What does this have to do with business? This is the journey that I was on because when I started washing cars, I started to figure it out. Then check this out. Then I start to get buckets. I start to get more sponges. This is called bucket right here. Bucket, sponges. There was a good vacuum that I was using. That mug was crazy. Vacuum. All right, cool. So this was the first like business endeavor that I ever experienced. It was good. It was fun. It was amazing. So I'm like, how can I apply that same information to my business today, to the podcast production business, where we help established business owners build trust through podcasts and collecting testimonials. It's not just about doing the content. It's not just about doing the episodes. It's not just about putting yourself out there. Okay. It's about building trust so when people start to learn more about you, they can come into your world because they have learned more about you. It's not the fact that it's not working. It's more so that you have to wait until it works. Hold on. You see, time, I talked about this in yesterday's podcast. I say time waits for no one. What does that mean? That means that the time just going to keep going. Right now it's 8:40 in the morning. In 60 seconds it's going to be 8:41. In another 60 seconds it's going to be 8:42. You see, you can't stop time, but you can execute on the work that you need to do today. Hold on. I got to take a sip of water today because we collected small wins today. Hold on. You see, the wins is you put in the win that I was establishing back then was putting myself out there. I'm like, okay, years later, I'm saying, how can I apply the same information? You see, how can I apply the same wins? You see, yes, I done learned a lot, I done done a lot. And as I started to learn, I'm like, man, okay, what do I need to do? I need to be consistent. Small wins. Hold on, small wins, prove. Hold on. Small wins. Dang, I just had small wins. Give proof of concept. There we go. Give proof of concept. If I wasn't winning, if I wasn't collecting small wins with the podcast production business, and a last event that we did, we helped 5 entrepreneurs launch their podcast in less than 5 minutes. Like that, it was literally 5 people. It was literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. 5 people came and sat down and launched their podcast in less than 5 minutes. Why is that important? Because these small wins, hold on. These 5 entrepreneurs were small wins. Why? Because it was a proof of concept. The way we help entrepreneurs launch their podcast in less than 5 minutes, in less than 90 minutes, is the same format, but it's positioned differently. Why? Because when people come and share their story, people are sharing their story in hopes of not receiving nothing in return. But that small win gives the 5 entrepreneurs that we help a platform. It gives them a podcast. It gives them time to actually share their story. You see, I tell you this, collecting small wins is sharing your story and the journey that you have been on. Hold on. Small wins create videos. And what are these videos? These are called videos right here. What are the videos? The videos are testimonials. It's social proof demonstrating that people were able to launch their podcast in less than 5 minutes. You see, it's not just about, hold on. I'm tripping. It wasn't just 5 entrepreneurs. It was 6. It was 7. It was 6, 7. You know what I mean? It wasn't the fact that it wasn't working. It was more so that 7 entrepreneurs sat down and shared their story. Why is that important? See, the small wins before the 7 even came was already being developed. Hold on. You see, the process was focused on. The process, the communication. You see, the small wins that I was able to collect alone the 5 and half a decade and 893 podcast episodes later, while helping 30 entrepreneurs launch their podcast in a short span of time. It's not the fact that wasn't working, okay? The small wins that I collected over half a decade helped me help 7 entrepreneurs in less than 5 minutes. Hold on. See, if it was easy, I would have already done it the first year. But the first year, I had to recognize I was doing something. See, every win matters. Every small win counts. Why? Because it is counting towards a bigger picture. Every time you show up, you're collecting a small win. Every time I go live, I'm collecting a small win. Every time I communicate with a customer, I'm collecting a small win. Every time I go to an event, I'm collecting a small win. Every time I respond to a post, I'm collecting a small wins. You see, there's a terminology in business that talks about compounding. In other words, to make it simple, there's a terminology in life that talks about multiplication. Hold on. You gotta multiply. You got to multiply your results. You got to multiply your wins. You got to multiply your work. Why? Multiplication helps prove that you can collect small wins. You see, compounding. Hold on. Compounding. Hold on. Compounding is a multiplication of the small wins. If you doing the work and you're not seeing the results, keep doing the work and the results will slowly start to appear. They're not going to appear right in front of you, yet they can appear in a way where it position you as the authority in your space. You see, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But since it's challenging, collecting small wins is overwhelming. Hold on. You see, when you compound your small wins, you start to develop a system. Oh, hold on. What is a system? The way you conduct your business, the way you do business, the way you communicate with customers, the way that you follow up, the way that you do business. Collecting small wins is recognizing that you are winning on a daily basis. Oh my goodness, hold on. So point number 2 that we're going to talk about is that you have to document, hold on, this is what a lot of people don't like to talk about, document the failures. Document the failures. Why? Because in order for you to recognize that something is not working, you gotta recognize that it did not work. Hold on. See, I'm getting so excited. I done spelled failure wrong. You know what I mean? U-R-E. Document your failures. You see, Thomas Edison, they say Thomas Edison created the light bulb, and it took him 1,000 times just to create a light bulb. This is called a light bulb right here. It's called light bulb. Just in case you don't know, bulb, light bulb. It took him 1,000 times to invent this light bulb. But I tell you, 1,000 times is a lot of times. Okay. Let's look at it in the business terminology. 1,000 failures is critical. In fact, what did he have success? The 1,000. Did he have success after one? After 1,000? Did he have success after like 5,000? You know what I mean? Like, when did he accomplish the success? But I tell you this, how do people know that it was 1,000? Hold on, because they was documenting the failures. They were documenting the failures. Who is they? I don't know, somebody. But the fact that it's 2026 and we know about Thomas Edison, there's something that was documented. The failures is what help you understand how to increase your chances of collecting small wins faster. Hold on. That's like with me. Hold on. 893 podcast episodes. Let's say plus, because it was a lot of episodes. 893 podcast episodes later, okay? It took me, hold on, there we go. 893 podcast episodes later, it took me a long time. Hold on. Plus half a decade. It took me a lot of failures. It took me a lot of time. It took me a long time. But I'll tell you this, the time that I took to understand what I was doing after producing 893 podcast episodes, there was something that was there. I was collecting small wins, and the small wins didn't appear big or massive to me just then, but it did teach me more about podcasting, okay? It did teach me more about how to help others with their podcasts. It did teach me how to position myself as the authority. You see, 893 podcast episodes might not be 1,000 episodes. In fact, it was like 1,600 before my YouTube channel got deleted. Nonetheless, 893 podcast episodes were me documenting the failures. So I'm documenting the failures, and I'm documenting the failures. I'm seeing what's working, what's not working, why is it working, how can I do better, how can I do more, how can I improve, how can I grow. 893 podcast episodes is 1, proof of concept. It's 2, commitment. It's 3, documentation of the failures. Okay, I done failed so many different times. And that failure will slowly turn into knowledge. It slowly turned into knowledge, because now I'm not just guessing how to help entrepreneurs launch their podcast in less than 5 minutes. I'm not guessing how to help entrepreneurs launch their podcast in less than 90 minutes. I'm not guessing how to help entrepreneurs launch their podcast, because the system, the process, the blueprint has been established. Hold on. It's been established because after producing 893 podcast episodes, I started to recognize something. That hesitation is the biggest downfall for people's success. If it was easy, you would have done it. But since it's not easy, it's overwhelming. You see, time plus experience. Time plus experience creates, goes back to the video today, creates small wins. Hold on. In business, you're not gonna win every day. In fact, it took me so long to recognize that, man, every day you're not gonna win. And I be confused. I'm like, how are all these people getting so much success today? But I never asked the question, what did they have to do? And how long did it take for them to accomplish the small wins faster? You see, I start to look at things differently. How many times have you failed? Have you ever failed before? I asked this question because now I'm curious. How did you do this? How did you accomplish this? Hold on. DJ, what it do, man? How did you understand that you was actually collecting small wins? Hold on. Time plus experience creates small wins. You can only win when you put yourself out there. And when you put yourself out there, you gotta document the failures. Hold on. If the failures ain't documented, how do you know what's working? Correction. How do you know what's not working versus what's working? There's a reason why I go live every day. There's a reason why I create content on a daily basis. There's a reason why I'm starting back publishing content on a daily basis. There's a reason why I'm putting myself out there around podcasting. Why? Because I want to be known as something. When I become known as something, I just gotta do more of it. It's already working. You gotta go live on TikTok, bro. Funny enough, I'm already on live on TikTok. I'm on live on TikTok. I was live on X. I'm on live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. So right now I'm live on 5 different platforms. Collecting small wins make a difference. Because I tell you this, the wins might not look like wins. In fact, they might look like losses. I'll give you a prime example. When I was in high school, I played football. And my 9th to 10th grade year was like, I was all right. I wasn't good, I wasn't bad, but I was okay. My 9th to 10th grade year, I played for junior varsity, and I was just learning from the upperclassmen, the juniors, the seniors, and seeing how they play, seeing what makes them different, right? One day, I saw what makes the best different. It was their work ethic. It was when the coaches wasn't in front of them, they still was working. It was when nobody was in the gym, they still was in there working. It was when nobody was there, they still was studying. I said, oh, that's it. You got to be willing to do more work than anybody here in order for you to stand out. But the small wins starts to generate when you decide to do it for yourself. So my 11th and 12th grade year came. So the amount of work that I was putting in from my 9th and 10th grade year, the 11th and 12th grade year paid off. Why? Because I was willing to do the work. I did more work than anybody, and I was okay with outperforming myself. I wasn't competing with nobody. I was competing to be the best version that I can. And what they did for me is this. Number one, in my 11th grade year, I was going crazy. If you don't believe me, go on huddle.com, type in Terrell Humphrey highlights, and there's a video say junior highlights, or there's one to say junior highlights, and then one to say senior highlights. There's a lot of videos on there. One is like 3 minutes, another is like 8 minutes, like specifically those videos. What's going on, Jessica? I took a look at your app. That mug is amazing. That app is amazing. I'm actually downloading today. So that was nice. I was gonna reach out to you today. When I start to really see the results, it all came from the small wins that nobody saw. You can't win until you lose a lot. Hold on. You can't win until you lose a lot. That was actually pretty good. You can't win until you lose. What DJ Khaled say? All he do is win. But I want to know, what did he do when all he was doing was losing? What did he do when he was losing, trying to figure it out, trying to learn, trying to develop, trying to grow? You see, just because he made a song, all he do is win. Before he was winning, he had to lose. Before you win, you got to lose, but it's okay to lose. But when you document the failure, now you know how to win. Documentation may seem like it's bad, but it's the way to do better. I used this up earlier with Thomas Edison, how he invented, if I have the name right, how he invented it took him what did it say? What did I say? 1,000 times. Hold on. Let me just go back to it. It took him 1,000 times to develop the light bulb. Then I was like, ooh, I got a better example. Then I used myself as an example because I had 893 podcast episodes to really learn about what I was doing. But then I'm like, how many people had actually failed before? I went on, there's the, what is it called? The state of secretary, where you about to like start an LLC and start a business, and you go in the register and you like pay the fee, all these different things. I was like, because I recently had to close down 2 businesses that I wasn't using no more. Like, it was the first 2 businesses I opened, and I was like, okay, let me close them down. I didn't know you had to dissolve it, just like well, I've been married before, and I had to dissolve the marriage, and the same concept goes with the business. Okay, that's confusing. Anywho, I digress. When I went to go do like a random search on the state secretary website, just look at different LLCs, I was like, I wonder how many LLCs are like voidable or like abandoned. I think the word was like abandoned. ABANDONDED. I think it's abandoned. I think I can't think of the terminology, but when I saw it, they had a list. I'm talking about this list was like really mind blowing. I'm actually gonna do a series when I talk to business owners who have failed the business, like who closed down the business, and then what did you learn from that? That series is gonna be crazy. Anywho, they got this database, and this database has a lot of information. Like, you can go on your state secretary and just look it up. And when I saw that, I said, hold on. Some of these people have closed down a business, or some of these people had to pivot. And a lot of people don't talk about the failure. So I was like, okay, since my platform is failure, is knowledge, I'm like, I got to make that a series. Because it's not just about what happened. It's how you adapted to it. It's how you overcame it. It's how you grew from it. It's how you like position yourself differently. And I'm like, ooh, I know I done failed a lot. I done failed so many different times. At this point, I'm just starting to think that failure is a part of the journey. It's a part of the journey because you can't avoid it. This list gave me a different perspective because this list showed the failures. Like, I don't know if you can, I'm actually gonna look up mine to see if you can, if I can see that too. Because if I can see theirs, I can probably see mine too. I'm gonna have to do that as soon as I get off. Anywho, why am I saying this? Okay. This list is documented. It's documented. The people who own the businesses, I don't know. I haven't talked to them yet. I haven't talked to many of them. I'm going to. Nonetheless, this list is documented. So every failure that you experience, it has to be documented because now when you're winning, you document the wins. DJ Khaled say, all I do is win. But why was he winning? Because he found his thing. I'm assuming, like I haven't talked to him. I can't wait to talk to him so I can actually ask him that. Because that's going to be a great question. Whenever I have a chance to meet DJ Khaled, I'm going to ask him that question. Hey, man, you know how you say all you do is win? And you actually made a song about it? He going to say, yeah. I say, what about when you lost? How many losses or failures did you have? And I can't wait to ask him that. One day I'm gonna ask him. Hold on. Documentation showcases that you know what you are talking about. It's not easy to be in business. In fact, it's really challenging. But you gotta believe in the wins that you're collecting, and eventually you will start to understand that you're working towards something. That's the last one to hit on. So you have to work towards your wins. You gotta work towards your wins. The first point that we talked about was this: you have to put yourself out there. Second point that we talked about is you have to document the failures. Third point, work towards your wins. Okay, what does this look like? Okay. It's hard, okay? Being in business is hard. Starting a business is hard. Starting a podcast is hard. Starting anything is hard. Excuse me. But I'll tell you this. It's supposed to be hard. Hold on. It's supposed, let's just say I'm going to the gym, okay? There's this dumbbell. Let's say it's 50 pounds. Like this joker is heavy. LBS. Let's say pounds. Okay. I go to the gym and I pick up this 50-pound dumbbell, right? Let me make it a little bit. There we go. 50-pound dumbbell. And I pick up the dumbbell, and I've never worked out before. And my first thing to go to is this 50-pound weight. And all I want to do is have the arm up, and I want to curl it. Right? Here's the problem with that. If I've never worked out my arms before, 50 pounds on one arm will be extremely heavy. Why? Because I haven't built the muscle up. I haven't built the routine up. I haven't practiced it. Okay. I pick up this 50-pound bar and I almost break my arm. I almost break my arm because the arm ain't moving. You see, this 50-pound weight is hard. Okay. But what if I start with 20 pounds? What if, let's say 15 pounds. What if I start at 15 pounds? The 15 pounds might feel a little light. But now you focus on technique. Hold on. You focus on technique. You align your body up. You have your chest out. You don't swing your body when you're moving the curl. You move the curl slow and steady as you are controlling the weight. When the weight is light, you focus on technique. Because when the weight get heavy, your technique has already been established. Okay, what does that have to do with business? It has everything to do with business. Why? Because the moment you get into business, trying to make a lot of money in a short span of time will be impossible. In fact, I started back in August of 2021, and I thought I was going to be a millionaire by September of 2021. 5 years later, I'm still not a millionaire. But I'll tell you this, the wins, the lessons, the failures, the knowledge I've gained, eventually I can get there. But I can't skip steps. I got to learn the basics. I got to learn the technique of selling. I got to learn the technique of marketing. I got to learn the technique of writing contracts. I got to learn the technique of following up. I have to learn the technique of having systems. I have to learn the technique of being a business owner. But when that technique is established, in all these different areas, everything comes together. Why? Because the technique has been established for sales. The technique has been established for marketing. Technique has been established for operations. Technique currently is been established for finances. It's currently established for how to get customers. You see, It's not just about being in business. Hold on. Just like if you go to the gym and start with the 50-pound weight, you never been in business before, or you never been in the gym before, and you never had a business before, you got to start with where you are at, and then grow into that. Because the more you show up, the more you learn, the more you get educated, the more you work out, the more you'll be able to understand that your technique, the skills, the basic is everything. It's everything. Because that technique never die. I ain't gonna say never. I'm gonna say never dies. But it's a daily practice. Technique is daily practice. Now, I haven't done, what is it called? Powerlifting, a bodybuilder. I don't want to do none of that. That ain't my path, okay? But I did work out. I play a lot of football, play a lot of sports, and they teach you the technique. You start off light, you work your way up, and the stronger you get, you never forget about your technique. When you start a business and you start putting yourself out there and you start communicating with people and you start getting results and you start collecting small wins, you never forget about the basics. Because the basics are the things that are practiced on a daily basis. Jessica say, just like when my daughter learned how to walk, she wanted to walk first without learning how to crawl. Understanding how to crawl helps you fall, and it's a critical technique of walking. There's a quote, Jessica, by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Hold on, I actually got it on my wall. My wife got it for me. I'm gonna try to see it because it's a bit far. It says, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. By the way, congratulations on your daughter. It's a daily practice. Entrepreneurship is a daily practice. And when you practice your business, when you practice the wins, you will have more wins because you can prove it's already working. Oh, man, that was good. So just to recap everything that we talked about today was that number one, you have to put yourself out there. If you're in business, if you're trying something new, if you're pivoting, be okay with putting yourself out there. Because if you're not okay with putting yourself out there, nothing's going to happen. What's that saying? I'm waiting for the perfect time. Well, there's no perfect time. You got to be okay with the time that you have, and then and being okay with the failures. I done failed publicly so many different times. My wife had showed me a picture of me. I had, what's it called? A bandage or something like that. But my head was wrapped. And she showed me the picture of it. She was like, "You always injuring yourself." I said, "Yeah, because I'm always trying." That was unfortunate that I hit my head when I was working out, but I'm always doing things. I'm not afraid to fail publicly. Put yourself out there, point number one. Point number two, document the failures. Just because you have failed does not mean you are a failure. It means that you are learning. It means that you're trying. It means that you're understanding what's working and what's not working. In order for you to understand what's working, you got to find out what's not working. Last point that we talked about was you have to work towards your wins. Your wins are not going to be handed to you. It's not going to say, I want to become, let's say my goal that I had August of 2021 to September to 2021. I was like, I want to be a millionaire within a month. That has yet to happen. But every day, I'm working towards that win. I'm working towards that goal. I don't want the money, just the money. I want the money because I want to showcase that I understand business. I understand how to help others. I understand how to help others launch their podcast in a short span of time and then help more people based off what's already been proven. And so that alone, it's like, oh, that's what we're working towards. But you got to work towards it for you to collect the small wins. So if you're an established business owner who struggle to build trust with your clients, customers, employees, and you want to start building trust through podcasting, shoot us an email at Terrell at TERRYL at failuresknowledge.com. Because our biggest philosophy, our biggest thought process is that if you have a business, You need to share your story, and this is where you build trust. Think about the amount of appointments you go on, the amount of conversations you have. The conversations are important. Nonetheless, it's the continued conversation that builds that trust and shortens the sales cycle. That was good. That was pretty good right there. So make sure you hit that follow, hit that subscribe. Lastly, don't be afraid to fail, because failure is knowledge.